Good morning, everybody. This is Martin John, just pouring myself a little kombucha. I make my own kombucha. It's just a thing I do, and I love to have a little glass in the morning. And if you've been listening to Tao of the Day, you've been hearing the tinkling of my glass, of my ice in my glass, usually most mornings. So here I am. And I am here to present the Tao Te Ching. The Tao Te Ching is an ancient text written about 600 BCE. And it was about the same time that scholars believe the Old Testament was written. Today is Thursday, August 18th, and I've never told the date before, so I don't know why I'm doing it today, but that's just what I happen to be doing. And I think I'm just thinking about what day is it, and what do I have to do today, and I want to be here, and I want to be present with you, with the Tao. So if you have a number between 1 and 81, you have burning desire to know about, want to step up, and we'll talk about that number of the Tao Te Ching. The Tao is made up of 81 verses, 9 by 9. And it is the canon of reason. It is the collection of writings that help us live a more reasonable life. Everything in the Tao is about being with yourself. I look at the Tao as being a text that was written at a time when we were leaving the relationship, when we had learned everything we needed to know about relationship, and we were moving into logic. As we have, as a species, as a planet, as we have grown from needing to survive, then to needing to relate, then in needing to be logical. The Tao and the Old Testament and many ancient texts were written to look at, well, what is the difference between where we were coming from and where we're going? And I think the Tao really focuses on where are we coming from, and don't forget where we came from and what we achieved from where we came from. And the Tao talks a lot about this idea of the feminine, and the relationship aspect of our evolution is very feminine. And then the logic aspect of our evolution, what we have built since then, right? We writing and farming and civilization as we understand it, like in the modern era, it's all logic based. And so of course, we're going to write things down. That's logical. But in speaking in communities and where writing was not an honored thing, speaking and discussing and being in relationship to this moment is where the Tao is coming from. And what's so important about that is that we're moving back into a new era, a new age, where that which yields is going to be at the fore of our experience, where logic is taking a backseat to that. And if we wanted to talk about it in yin and yang purposes, we're moving into a more yin, or as some people would like to call it, more feminine aspect of our evolution. And when we do that, we actually open ourselves up to so much more. And so the Tao focuses on these more feminine aspects, the more great mother aspects. The Tao talks about being the mother of heaven and the mother of God, and without Tao, God couldn't be pure. You know, I wrote a translation of one. I wrote a translation of 42 yesterday, which really kind of addresses this. And I guess I'll read that now because nobody's got a number they want to look at. So I want to look at 42. To give birth, Tao gives birth to universes. Universes give birth to planets. Planets give birth to beings, and beings give birth to everything else. Tao is the great mother. All else holds both male and female. By all things embracing both, harmony is achieved. To feel alone is avoided by men. Yet that is where no identity resides. The master holds no identity. She embraces her aloneness, realizing when she is at one with herself, she is at one with all things. So for me, this really talks about this masculine and feminine and the hierarchy of creation, and how we have been created and how we got here. So Tao gives birth to universes. And as I wrote this, I wanted to express that our universe isn't the only one. And if it is, fine, but it's not. Like, I can't imagine that it is. So Tao gives birth to all universes. Like, just because we aren't aware of a specific universe, or because we are not aware of something, doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And Tao is going to penetrate all of them, because Tao is the thing that exists before everything and anything else. So if we want to be, like, egocentric and say it's our universe, and our universe is the thing that it needs, reconciliation, then we'll say, okay, yeah, Tao made our universe. But we have to recognize that at least there is a possibility that more universes than ours exist. So we open up. Like, when I translated this, I wanted to be able to open up to that concept, to to recognize that Tao gives birth to all universes, not just ours, all experiences, not just ours. And then universes give birth to planets, all of the planets, right? All of the planets in our or other solar system, no matter what they are, no matter ours or other universes, no matter what they are, what they look like, how they exist. They give birth to planets. Planets give birth to beings. Now, beings is everything. Beings is things with and without consciousness, right? So even a rock is a being. Everything on this planet, everything you can experience is a being. Even a cloud is a being. In my translation, at least, even a cloud is a being. Everything is a being. Being gives birth to everything else. Beings give birth to everything else. So no matter what, everything else is being birthed by that. Like, clouds give birth to rain, right? And people give birth to ideas. All of these things, like, beings, give birth to everything else. There's the universes, there's the planets. There's the universes, there's the planets, and then there's the beings. And once you get down to that point, everything is a being. The ocean is a being. Snow is a being, which gives birth to rivers, which give birth to tributaries, which gives birth to oceans. It's all there. Like, everything is a being, and when we look at it that way, we can recognize that Tao is in all of it, and we are part of that. And we are beings that are giving birth to concepts, ideas, art, and cars, and pollution, and murder, and we give birth to all things, right? Everything. Um, Tao is the great mother. So this recognizes that Tao is the female, is the highest form of female, highest form of anything, and that is female, and that is feminine. Tao is the great mother. It has no masculine. It has no structure. As I talk about masculine and feminine, masculine is structure, feminine is space, right? And Tao is the void, and so Tao is the great mother. It is able to receive all things without needing anything in anything else. It doesn't need credit. It doesn't need attention. It doesn't need anything. You don't have to even know that it is working within you to be able to use it. Tao is the great mother. Now, I've translated this to then say all else holds both male and female. Okay, Tao is the great mother. All else holds both male and female. So the universe holds male and female because it has an edge, it has a structure. There is an edge to the universe. Whether we can find it or not, there is an edge to it, and it is expanding. If it didn't expand, then it wouldn't have an edge. So we know that there is movement. If there is movement within the universe, if there's expansion in the universe, then it holds a masculine quality. Now, it is also mostly space, and so can receive planets, and anything within it can be held by it. So once again, it holds feminine. All else holds male and female. So everything holds the masculine and feminine. I should probably kind of change that to masculine and feminine. Tao is the great mother. All else holds both masculine and feminine qualities. By all things embracing both, harmony is achieved. So when one aspect of one of those things, whether it is the beings, the planets, the universe, because those are the only ones with both, if any one of those decides to embrace one over the other, both whether it's masculine or feminine, then it is not harmonious. While we were in this while we were in this developmental state of logic, since the beginning of written history, since we started writing, since we started farming, since we started doing all of these things that revolve around logic, once we started doing those things, we started to embrace the masculine increasingly. Well, as it has gone on over the last century or so, we have embraced the logic, we have embraced the masculine to maybe an unhealthy extent. All business looks masculine. All business is sales. All business is this masculine, uh, has a masculine trait about it. And so we can say that it's possible things are not harmonious at the moment, right? We see filthy skies, we see pollution, we see super, 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 super rich people, and then the destitute, right? The things are not in harmony. Oh, Dr. Rao, I would love to hear what you have to say here. Hello.
Hi, Martin.
How are you?
I am good. How are you?
Mm, I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, 6% own 60% of resources. Latest figure I was told the other day.
No.
Riches of the world, 6% own the 60% of it.
Yes. Yeah.
So they said this is not abnormal inequality. This is a pathological inequality.
Yes.
And you know what? I would put it this way. Uh, Making a living and keeping of the body, that seems to take precedence for all of that. But when you look at the ancient perspective of why you are taking care of the body, because it's the temple for the soul within, and you turn inward and realize that is your purpose, that's why you want to maintain the body. But
Yes.
if you stop short of just maintaining the body, but you don't know what's the purpose behind it, I think that's where we went wrong as people, right? And the ones who were really turned aside, they found the treasures. Then outward life can be simple and friendly to the earth, but at the same time is a very rich inward life, and that comes out.
Hmm.
So Western attitude of ego and profit, those two ills have sprung out because we just think this is our body, this is our mind, and we are this, that's it, and
Right.
enjoy some things outwardly. Yesterday, I was talking to, I think, in my yoga wellness club about this pursuit of something inside, how it is really alone you have to do, not like a group you can do. Like some of the people on the wisdom app say, we collectively grow, we learn each other. Is that really true? That is a question, You see, when it comes to inward things, it's basically got to do it ourselves.
Yes.
I was telling them about what is a real guru, and what I was impressed was that's a statement they say, the guru is inside, but then the real guru is the one who directs you to your inward wholeness. So he can only throw light and maybe show the path a little bit, but then you got to walk on the path yourself.
Yes.
So being alone is like a virtue and also opportunity and also really privilege for us to be alone inside and go in. But
Oh, that's beautiful.
yeah, a lot of
You know,
people,
and that's what this, like, I'm reading this 42, and that's all this is the next line is,
yeah,
to feel alone is avoided by men, yet that
yeah,
is where no identity resides.
yes, yes, no
You know,
idea.
like when you can be alone, you don't have to be something for anybody else. You don't
Yeah,
have to have pressure to be anything. You don't have to conform to masculine or feminine energy. You can
mhm,
be who you are. And
yeah,
when you can find that in your aloneness, you can carry that with you
yeah,
out
because
in the world.
that's a virtue, that's a privilege, that's a opportunity. And there is a Telugu song I kind of remember sometime when I was showering it. It talks about why is it I know this is all good to turn inside, do all that, but as a human being, that's my privilege, that's my opportunity. But why don't I do that? And then he talks about how we are enamored by the simple pleasures, or just get addicted to those things. So you can have them as a normal life, but why do you have to be so enamored to the extent you do not know how to turn inward and realize who you are?
Yeah.
So the guru said the guru is actually inside in every one of us.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to turn there by yourself, and then uh, that getting alone is something people are not really familiar with or afraid of it. They equate it with loneliness. I think the other day, who was it? Amrita, I think. There is a new person. She came in. She was talking about this loneliness, how to do it. I was saying that loneliness is like a cut off from everything. You feel like I don't have anybody, and nobody cares for me, and I don't have any love from anybody, and all that kind of thing, right? So basically, you are cut off from the source.
Yeah.
Aloneness, trying to be going to that source alone. That's the only thing I was talking about. You can
Yes.
all the group they want to learn, grow together. All that they are doing is that true?
Right.
When they really look at it, and then so this is a probably not in a criticism, but a point out is a wisdom have a lot of people who are thinking that are spiritual, they are growing spiritually, but they are really embedding in their thought construct ego. Think,
Yes.
I'm kind of getting better. I'm kind of no. You don't need any certification for you know.
It's true.
And
There is no getting better, right?
and there's
You are here.
like
Like,
a little bit of politics, a little bit of feminist, a little bit of supporting their own kind,
yes.
and then there's so much outward. Oh, God is there. God will tell you, and all those things.
Yeah.
But never looking inside.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
I'm not saying in a negative way. I'm saying
No,
it's a tragedy to see that,
it
because
is. Yeah.
it's going on millennials, but they were not really having the serene. This is what I always say: the blissfulness. Once you touch it, you will be in that. There's no turning back. And then the energies are very invigorating, happy, contented, serene. These are all adjectives. You don't have to describe that. You cannot describe that.
Right.
It is something you will feel, and then you establish in that. So I will finish with one. This one I was sharing with somebody about aloneness, loneliness, and then really getting what you want, important, turning inside out. There was a sage, and he was met by somebody who is like us in the modern world, all busy achieving things and doing all of that, right? So he was enjoying the life of going to restaurants and then going to vacations and all that, you know. So that's a modern life, right? They think, oh, I have a good life, I'm enjoying and all. So he meets a sage and says, "Sir, you are really great. You are sacrificing all these luxuries, all these comforts that we enjoy." They call that
Mm,
bhogi. Bhogi means that one who is enjoying bhoga. Bhoga is worldly pleasures, right? So he's a bhogi, right? But this man is a yogi, the sage. And he says, "You sacrifice everything for the God's sake, all these things, you're really great." Then the sage comes back to him and says, "No, sir, I think you are greater than me because God is so great. You are sacrificing the God for the other things."
that's right.
And
Yeah.
the God is not anywhere, it is in you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was telling my wife this morning what Vivekananda said. His mission was to make people realize the divinity within themselves and manifesting the divinity in their regular life. See,
Yeah.
so once you have that, what is this, kind of normative? You see, what is they're talking about a balance? They're talking about growing together, and all the while they're enamored by the bhoga, that is the worldly pleasures, worldliness, and all that. Even if they do some spiritual work, it is for attaining these monies and life. They say, oh, that's the balance. Yeah, you can have the balance, but the main thing is neglect it. You're not going to go into that inner treasure at any time. You
Right. And that's, and I see that as like this balance, and when
Yeah,
we can have balance between like the stillness and the actions that are arising from,
yeah. I
Tao
think
or rising
this is all a modern man, not even Western or Eastern, modern man
right.
concept
Yeah.
that we
Eh,
can have balance and we'll be okay. But then, what is important for you? Then once you turn inward and taste that, then these things fade off. They fall themselves. In the yoga, for example, Yogananda, he had first established his big thing in Los Angeles, I think,
mhm.
and there people came. They wanted to have more sexual prowess so that they enjoy sex, and he said, "Yeah, I will do that for you." And but then later on, it will fall off. That's exactly what happened. They initially they gained, health and sexual energy and all of that. They were able to have better sex there, but then soon they realized that's not that important for them anymore.
Right.
By
Yeah.
themselves dropped. They did not do anything. They just dropped, and then they went into something more joyful, more enjoyable, and all that.
Yeah. It's not and when I say balance, like I don't, like so much of our world is like, oh, balance it, so move something from here to here, and that's not really what I mean. I
Yeah,
think it's like it's achieving like harmony with yourself,
yeah, yeah. That's
because you
different.
don't have to,
Yeah,
like,
that's a better word.
yeah.
Harmony, better word. Definitely, I know what you mean. But what
Yeah.
I'm talking about is, what is the thrust? Is it learning? One girl came to me one time in the yoga class. I was talking about something, a very simple thing that people can do. But then she said, I'm going to make a video and sell it. It's to be you learn, and then you want to distribute. That's a different matter. But where is your emphasis? Is it something that you want to learn and do it and be example and teach? That's different. Or you want to make a concept out of it, make a book or a video, and then
Mhm.
sell it for money. That's different, right? That's
Yeah.
what I'm talking about.
No,
Here,
yeah,
yeah,
I align. Yeah.
yeah. Here I'm talking about inward orientation for what? Just self-conscious, or really discovering these energies beyond body and mind. That's the
Mm-hmm.
thing. Beyond mind, people are not going. They are getting stuck in the mind thing, and they say, "Okay, whatever we understand resonate with me means what? Your mind is where you want people to talk at that level." But somebody like that sage, he went beyond that pleasurable centers of the mind, and then he was there in that energy where he's harmonized with himself, with everything around too. So he has no resistance, anything. Those kind of things people are not able to do because they have used this word balance, where they say, I
Mm-hmm.
have material life, I want to have the spiritual life too. There's nothing like there's only one life. How do you
Mm-hmm.
want to spend your energies? That's all.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
And when we use the word balance, we can often see it as like, oh, I am going to actively move something so that
Yeah.
I am doing, and it's like, no, that's not balance at all. Actually,
Mhm.
like that's manipulation.
Harmony is a very, very good word, John, I think,
Yeah.
because we are harmony within ourselves, with our body, mind, and spirit, and harmony with the world and other beings and other human beings and all that.
Yeah.
When did the harmony come? For example, I kind of commenting this because there is a separate way people go about the spiritual quest, I mean, everybody can do their own way, but the thing is, like a lot of rancor going on. We're talking about that, this, and they will know one thing, and immediately they know everything, and then they're closing them off for further exploration. You know,
Yeah.
and that leads to potential to be exploited by somebody. So
Absolutely. And
Mhm.
that is, and exploitation happens in our world.
Yeah, yeah, but you don't have to be uh, exploited by some.
No, you don't have to be,
Yeah,
you don't even have
yeah,
to be afraid of it. You don't even have to
yeah,
be aware of it because like
yeah.
you can
Then
connect.
you won't exploit anybody, and you won't subject yourself to exploitation.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right. And that's what happens when you kind of find harmony.
yeah.
When you
You know
find that,
that is the psychological independence.
that's right. That is true.
Yeah, this
What's it?
group thing of we are all going together, we all learning together.
No,
Really,
it's true. It's true.
nice talking to you, John. Bye.
Always beautiful. Thank you. And it is true. Dr. Rao's right. This idea that we're all learning together. Like, no, you're learning for you. You're learning yourself. And that's, that's such a part of the Brahman and such a part of Tao. I'm going to go ahead and read this 42 again through, and then we're going to jump in where we were talking when Dr. Rao came up. To give Tao gives birth to universes. Universes give birth to planets. Planets give birth to beings, and beings give birth to everything else. Tao is the great mother. All else holds both masculine and feminine. By all things embracing both, harmony is achieved. To feel alone is avoided by men, yet that is where no identity resides. The master holds no identity. She embraces her aloneness, realizing when she is at one with herself, she is at one with all things. And that's what Dr. Rao was talking about, this idea that when you find that harmony, you are not putting yourself at risk to be manipulated. You're not putting yourself at risk to, you're not putting yourself in a position to manipulate anybody. You don't want to manipulate anybody. You are whole and in harmony with everything because everything is you and you aren't learning with anybody else. You aren't here to experience anybody else. You're here to experience yourself. And where we left off was all things embrace by all things embracing both masculine and feminine, harmony is achieved. When you can embrace without identity, you don't have to like, yeah, I interviewed Alan Baker on my podcast once, and he spoke about another friend of mine um, who was a trans man, and we were talking about some of the language that I was challenging for my friend who was trans. who's my trans friend, like we were talking about like what, I was challenging him on some of his identifying language, and I was like, no, we don't. I won't allow that on my platform because you are more than that, right? Like you don't have to express this fear, right? Like you don't have to express how you identify. You are just you identifying as you. And if you identify as male, sure, like choose your gender however you want. And this is what Alan said, choose your gender however you want, but don't identify with any of it. Why should you be identifying with a gender? Like, so what? And that's what this is saying. Like, when you are alone, you don't have to identify as anything. You don't have to, you know, plant your flag anywhere. You are you. Now, can you be you without all the influences that you carry normally when you are alone? Now, if you're alone and you can't find you, if you can't be quiet, know you, well, that's something to look at. And this is what Dr. Rao was talking about. I think, like to the best of my ability to understand, deep concepts, like when we are in this position of, oh, this is who I am, I have an identity, can I let that identity go? This is where harmony can be achieved. I don't have to plant my flag and be anything. I don't have to be masculine. I don't have to be feminine. I don't have to be smart. I don't have to be weak. I don't have to be rich. I don't have to be strong. Whatever it is, you are God, in lack of a better word. Like you hold all of this. So to feel alone is avoided by men, yet it is where no identity resides. So this is why mankind in general, like avoids being alone, avoids looking at themselves, because being alone is a place where it's like, oh, I don't know who I am. Right, you don't. So be alone and figure that out. The master holds no identity. And this is someone who has found themselves and realized they don't have an identity. They aren't a businessman. They aren't an entrepreneur. They aren't wealthy. They aren't masculine. They aren't feminine. They aren't anything. She embraces her aloneness. She embraces that because in her aloneness, like when she is looked at, she isn't even seen as anything because she's not being looked at. She's alone. Realizing when when she is at one with herself, she is at one with all things. She can be whatever, forever, because there is no identity. Once you embrace an identity, once you are religious, once you believe in something, once you, like all of these things, once you plant your flag anywhere, you have lost a part of yourself. And so um, that's what this 42, and this is what Dr. Rao was coming on and talking about, I think, um, is all about this idea of don't hold on to your identity, hold all aspects within yourself, hold both the male and female. And of course, I titled this holding both male and female, but the reality is hold everything, hold it all. You are a tree, you are a rock, you are a wealthy man, you are a poor man or woman or whatever, and you are masculine and you are feminine and you are male and you are female and you are hot and you are cold. All of these things exist all the time. Tao gives birth to universes, universes give birth to planets, planets give birth to beings, beings give birth to everything else. Tao is the great mother. All else holds both male and female. By all things embracing both, harmony is achieved. To feel alone is avoided by men, yet that is where no identity resides. The master holds no identity. She embraces her aloneness, realizing when she is at one with herself, she is at one with all beings. Thank you so much for joining me for Tao of the Day. That was holding both male and female number 42 on my rendition of the Tao Te Ching. This will be out for you to pick up, and it'll be out for you to embrace at some point. Love you guys. Glad that I could be here presenting this work with you. It is such a joy and honor for me to be able to present this work. The Tao has been a real the Tao has just been a part of my growth, and I am grateful to be able to talk about it and share it as I do. Thank you so much for your support. If you benefit from the work I do, definitely you can send me a tip through Venmo at martinjohn_Garcia. Otherwise, I would you can send me a DM if you'd like to work together over on Instagram at Martin John or Twitter at Martin John. Thank you so much once again, and until next time, keep recovering yourself.